Whether it's correct to call them a Christian church is perhaps something we can explore a little, but is that a deceptive description?
Okay, Lance, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you, Samuel.
Nice to touch base with you again. And yeah, today we're going to be talking about this DECEIT of the PBAO, which is the Plymouth Brethren
Assembly Organisation. They actually pass under the auspices of the Stewards Foundation of Christian Brethren Act, passed in 1989 through the New South Wales Parliament, under the auspices of an assembly organisation. So you're actually correct to call them PBAO. Whether it's correct to call them a Christian church is perhaps something we can explore a little, but is that a deceptive description?
Well, what I would determine or break down the term Christian, you know, in these terms, is you are coming from a heart-centered place of openness, really. Exactly. That's what I see, you know. It's like... a Christian would never, a true Christian could never tell a lie because he's responsible to his maker. Yes, and all is seen as well. All is seen within that, you know. So there is no hiding from the divine because we are all God in essence, that's it.
And you don't want to hide. My wife and I, in our career, if you like, in the PBAO, if we ever offended somebody or had slightly different view, we would explain and go to great lengths to explain why we thought that way, because we held ourselves accountable to each other and to the brethren. Yeah. And there are a lot of lovely brethren in there who still do that. Yeah.
But do you see this association as being one of openness?
No, not now. But it was built up that way, and the fundamental teaching was good. Yeah. The base teaching is good. It's the duplicity in the way it's played out by the hierarchy, and that has its effects right down through the congregation. So you cannot now, I don't think, call them a Christian church. Yeah. But I hold myself accountable. If they would engage with me, which I welcome, we could thrash that out.
Yeah, interesting. Well, having watched the documentary on Australian TV about the Plymouth Brethren Church, it's quite apparent that there is...
The one called Big Brethren.
Big Brethren.
That was just Monday this week, yeah.
If you do want to go and watch it. I noticed that there were, you know, a lot of untruths in what it is that they are preaching compared to what it is that they are actually doing. Yes, exactly. And it seems that from what I've observed and the people that have left or been excommunicated, is the general theme is that there is a disparity between being honest and lying. And when you are honest and you shine a light on the darkness that is ensuing within the church itself, then it's time for you to leave. Which isn't openness, because as far as I understand it, Christ consciousness, you know, we can break down all the religions into the one unifying factor of unity, wholeness, oneness. There is no separation. There is no lie.
No.
You are completely open. Yet I see a lot of what happened in the court case with your man as well. What was his name?
Mick Dover.
Yes. They tried to shut him down and shut him up so that he was kept from saying things. But he very integrally, which is openness, which is truth and honesty, he wasn't swayed by money. He denied 3 lots of... it's the right term for this, Lance. 3 lots of money to hush him up, basically.
Temptations.
Yes, temptations, exactly, to hush him up. And he denied every single one of them to keep his integrity, to the point where he has been very badly treated by the brethren.
I don't know of any single person that's been as abused as Mick Dover of Victoria, Australia. And it saddens me because he's been over his history with me in detail, and it is shocking. And it stems back to money. It says in Scripture, the love of money is the root of all evil. And his father, his grandfather, and consequently his father, his grandfather, Mr. Dover, employed brethren, had a great business, was much respected. The leader of the church went to stay there. He was generous to the brethren. He died in 1970, the year of the Aberdeen fiasco. And wealthy man, had a printing press, printing newspapers in Melbourne in the Dover building. Then his father took that on. He was shut up, separated from in 1972, had to come crawling back and handed over all his wealth, as far as I understand it in my simple way. But I'm just saying, a lot of this deception, deceit, lies, revolves around money and the love of money. So, you know, what sort of openness of motive is there if you actually set out to deprive a family of their money? What does that mean?
Well, exactly, and it's the lies that ensue around it. You know, if surely you were an open Christian organisation, what you would do is you would have no boundaries. You would, please, tax office, come in and have a look at our businesses. Please come in, and you know, there's no resistance there. But the fact that there is states that there is a guilt there within the hierarchy within this community. You know. And so that hierarchy is now controlling the masses to the point where they're wanting him to sign a non-disclosure agreement on receiving the £1 million or whatever it is, which is hush money. That's a criminal organisation. That is not a Christian belief. The true essence of Christianity, and I am not a Christian, you know, is that you are within Christ consciousness. You are open, fully open, heart-centered. You're coming from here. Whereas the money is loved by the mind because it thinks that the more it has out here, the more power and control that it has. And somewhere along the line within this organisation, there has been a switch. You said good intentions were started with this, but then over time, slowly, there is an entity that starts to grow within the people, and then that entity you could call a demon or whatever. I don't believe in demons. They are just a fear energy that's been allowed to grow, and then it overtakes and almost possesses the hierarchy in this organisation.
So we're doing the opposite. We're here telling our story, hoping it goes out across the housetops, around the world, simply because we're doing the opposite of
hiding
or giving hush money. We're actually holding ourselves open, holding ourselves accountable to the whole world, really, and inviting questions. We want challenging questions. We want people to question us and prod and stab and have a go at us because we believe that we've brained this through, we've got settlement in our souls, and we're ready for any tsunami.
And you're open. That's it. You've nothing to hide.
Exactly.
You know,
it's a wonderful space to be in.
It's stress-free, isn't it?
Exactly. Peace.
Exactly.
And just one, as you were speaking earlier, I just thought of one saying. We used to say in the church, practice what you preach. If it's worth being a Christian, it's worth being a real one. Isn't that beautiful?
And that's used by the brethren.
Absolutely. We used to say that in church. There's just no point being a Christian if you're fake. What's the point of that? It's a miserable life. In fact, it says in the Bible, if in this world only we have hope, we are of all men most miserable. Well, the money and the materialism is this world only. So if that's where our hope and desires and resource is, and, you know, miserable. Money doesn't bring happiness, does it?
No, you're building a tower that is built on very shaky foundations, isn't it?
It's deceitful. The deceit of riches, it speaks about in the scripture.
Yes, exactly that.
And it's
the hypocrisy as well of it all. That's it, you know.
Yeah.
You know, we are completely open. We are men of God, and it's just like, well, you're not, though, are you? You're not, because what you're saying and what you're doing are very different things. Yet the people who are within this organisation, they've given all of their power away to this controlling body, you know.
Yes.
We'll get onto that in the next one anyway. But it creates brain damage within the people, and they can't then critically think for themselves. And this then expanded out, this is a microcosm of then what's going on in society, where we've given all of our powers away to governmental bodies and things like this, who don't have our best interests at heart, you know. And that's worth a heck of a lot more money.
Yeah.
But money is the thing that can also, you can utilize that as a neutral energy. So if there are people there, you know, who have done these things, there is never, you know, you're always able to rectify that.
Yeah.
You know, but we'll get onto that later.
Yeah. And just while we're on this subject, just so everybody understands why I'm hypersensitive when it comes to truth and honesty and people that tell lies. My father, when I was 16, was withdrawn from for the spirit of lying. Now that was a major to be withdrawn from. In other words, you lose your place in the church. He came in as a young man, was bright as a button. As his son, eldest son, I could have actually never told lies. He brought me up to be dead straight wicket, and don't ever hide the truth. But then he was victim, because I was only little, 16, perhaps should have known better. If the church condemned him as being dishonest, spirit of lying, that was it had a massive impact on me. So ever since, I've been very hypersensitive. A friend of mine who's left the church contacted me this week and reminded me that it's at their house in Nottingham, actually, and his mum said to somebody on the phone, "Lance isn't here," and I commented and said, "That's not true." Now, you might reproach me for being hypersensitive on truth, but in actual fact, is it that the mother was just protecting me? And I understand that, but nevertheless, you don't need to stoop to saying anything that isn't absolutely true, I don't think.
Yeah.
And I raised the question, would the world be a better place if everyone was hypersensitive about telling lies? If we're all absolutely scrupulously honest with each other and told each other the truth, would the world be a better place? It might be.
Yeah, I do believe it would, because the ego or the conditioned mind that is in fear all the time constantly lies, and we see this within our own lives, you know. It's like sometimes we're going, I don't know if I can say that because I won't be accepted by something outside of myself. And especially when you're in a real sort of maelstrom energy of being in an association like the Plymouth Brethren Church, you are then going to be hyper aware, and it's almost like living in North Korea, you know. It's like that whole dynamic of that is so horrible, because you're constantly looking over your shoulder, and you don't know who you are because you can't tell that truth. And that's not a nice place to be in. But if you're so right, if everybody told the truth, and just for whatever reason, everybody woke up tomorrow and just was like, you know, it's like Lie with Jim Carrey. You know, I can't lie, you know. And suddenly you find yourself, because you're no longer hiding who you are out of shame or guilt or worry or whatever it is.
Wonderfully liberating.
Yeah. But it's so stressful when you're not in that place.
Yeah.
You know.
And just imagine, I think that we tend to blame the government and the politicians for the deceit and the lies, and everyone has got the Labour Party now, and they can become the scapegoat for all the lies and the deceit,
the blame
that's running
shifted
through the culture of this country.
100%.
But we actually need to deal with it in ourselves and start from square one.
Yes.
And then the Labour government, or whichever government's in, will pick up the message that the government, that the population want honesty.
Yeah.
But this picking politicians for their business ability or their ability to make me money, regardless of their morals, is not the way forward for this country.
Yeah, it's unintegral. It's so huge what you've just said there, Lance, because that whole essence of that is so critical right now. If you want to see change in the world, be the change yourself.
Yes.
You know, and don't put anybody up on a pedestal as that person's going to. It's like with all the Charlie Kirk stuff recently. The thing I noticed about that event was that there's all these people wearing hats, wearing the jerseys for this guy. And it's like, you're giving all your power away to this guy. Like, I didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was, you know, because I don't watch the news. I don't get involved at all. Yeah. But all I saw in that was just like, that's really interesting. Now, all these people are focused at this. This person's going to change the world. Nope. You're still giving your power away to something outside of yourself and thinking that is going to change it. Not realizing the inherent power that you have within yourself to be able to make that change yourself.
It says in the Bible, he that's faithful in the least, being yourself really, is faithful in much. So if you look after the pennies, you'll be able to look after the millions.
Yes.
So if you're scrupulously honest with your pennies, from boyhood, from girlhood, you'll be honest through your life and you'll be a rock and somebody that people can rely on.
100%. And that filters out into what you've just said there, filters out into every aspect of life.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's start with ourselves, move into our families. If we're fathers of sons or daughters, we're particularly responsible to infuse that honesty into our children, and then grandchildren, wider in the family, and then the neighbourhood, the local communities. Make sure you pick counsellors that are, and parties that are honest. Look at the morals of the people you're putting into position, and then gradually let that spread through the villages, through the towns, through the cities, out to the government, and we can then transform Britain into the safe country it was back in the day. And this is how we're going to transform cultures, societies, businesses, and find that personal honesty, collective honesty, accountability, integrity is actually going to transform the world.
Yeah. And you're happy within yourself as well.
Absolutely.
And that happiness then filters into the mirror of reality that we live in as well.
And we've got then trust streaming through the arteries, if you like, of society, so that I can trust you because I know you're honest, you can trust me. We can talk about anything, what my failures, my successes, whatever, and we know there's no judgment.
Yeah, lay everything out on the line, and that's the point that we're making here to anybody who's listening to this who maybe is in the church. Are they hiding stuff from you? Are they controlling you? Do you truly have free will, or are you in fear at certain points? Because that is the deceit of what is happening here.
Well, I think the whole country is in fear of the legal system. The power that's in the hands of the lawyers is immense. And the way they present matters to courts and to judges is often so instrumental in whether the judge decides whether somebody's wrong, right, guilty or innocent. And it's down to the money that's paid to the very best lawyers. Completely wrong.
Yeah.
The world should not be run by money. We need money to get through, absolutely.
Should be run by integrity.
Absolutely. And that is the issue we've got in society.